Hi everybody, this is Quinton from FitPro Q&A, and I've got a fantastic interview lined up today with somebody that I could probably also describe as a celebrity in his own right. I've got Rory Steyn here today. You'll have to comment on the celebrity thing.
There's definitely no desire to be a celebrity. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So, but Rory is a great guy, and since I met him, you know, we've had a little bit of a chat today. We're sitting here with a cup of coffee on a beautiful autumn afternoon, and right on cue, the Hadida is giving us a signal.
Perfect.
So yeah, we're just going to have a bit of a chat. But I wanted to chat to you, Rory, mainly around fitness.
Yes.
And that sort of thing. But, you know, just sort of to give people a bit of a background on your prowess, is that a good word?
It is
in
the right
terms
word,
of fitness background. You obviously, you know, came out of school, you played rugby in school, came through school, but your big achievements, basically, if I can just mention that, is that you ran 12 Comrades, you ran a marathon on every continent.
Correct.
And you mountain bike, I mean, the list just goes on and on. Maybe you want to tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, yeah, so I don't consider myself to be any kind of a fitness professional.
Okay.
But as I was telling you when we met, I've been going to gym since I was 20 years old. So that's 35 years of experience. So as an end user of gyms, gym equipment, training through, well, even long before that, training through school and police college, rugby clubs and all that kind of thing, just seeing how fitness and training used to be, how it has evolved to where it is today. It's become a science. Now you have personal trainers. Now you have people that make a living out of fitness and health. So all that I'm able to offer is, as I said, 30, 40 years of being an end user of various theories relating to fitness and strength and conditioning. Now it's called conditioning.
Yes.
You know, previously we used to purely just talk about bodybuilding or building muscle mass, but now it's called conditioning. And conditioning is even more than all of that. So yeah, that's what I have to offer. But as you correctly said, I play golf, I play tennis. I still run a little bit, but I had to have back surgery a couple of years ago, so my running days are done, and I've got absolutely nothing left to prove with running. You know, a Comrades green number is probably the ultimate, but I've also done what less than 1,000 people in the entire world have done, I think, and that's, as you correctly said, run a marathon on all 7 continents.
That is brilliant.
By the way, there is strong scientific, not evidence as much as a push, for an 8th continent to be declared, which is a continent called New Zealandia. So yeah, so if you go and I'm being dead serious. Go and Google it. Go and have a look.
Okay.
But there are whatever the criteria are and the telltale signs that geophysicists will look for to determine if a landmass is a continent on its own or not. So there's kind of split opinion, but there's a strong one that suggests that New Zealandia should be an 8th continent, which means I'll have to come out of retirement and go and run the Auckland Marathon.
I was going to say, Rory Steyn, you haven't finished yet.
No, that's right.
That would be amazing. But okay, so but then what would you say? Yeah, I mean, you spoke about a few things, but what have you learned over these? You said 30 years, so I can say 30 years. About training.
Well, what I've learned about training is that there's a lot of good and bad practices out there. I mean, I think back to, so I was a cop. I never went to the army, but but we had the same kind of training.
Yeah.
So if you think back to your typical army basics, or your police college training, there was some really stupid stuff that went on. You know, like picking up guys on your shoulders and doing squats with them, and we did that in rugby as well. You know, running up and down mine dumps with army boots on is less stupid. But probably not ideal.
But the goal was different for that.
But the goal was different. It was to break you down mentally.
It was an opfok, right?
Yeah, exactly. and then hopefully post that it was to build you up. I mean, so that was the static. But to put somebody on your shoulders and do squats in an unregulated, what's the word? Unmanaged environment is
Yes.
maybe not so smart.
Yeah.
Because somewhere along the line, you're going to do some kind of damage
Yeah.
to somebody's back, even if it's not just because of the weight on the shoulders, but just because of the form
Yes.
that you're performing the squat in.
Yeah.
You know, are you sitting back properly and taking the, you know, the load on your glutes and your hamstrings, or is it all straight through the lumbar region of your spine, which
Yeah.
is, cannot be
That's
good
crazy,
for you.
yeah.
Yeah, and even the cervical spine. So that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But and then there are very good practices. Then there are theories that people haven't quite proven to be, you know, the latest and greatest practice. So they'll try it, and so you should. I mean, every invention came with experimentation,
Correct,
I guess.
yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with that. But your question was, you know, how have I seen it change? And I've seen it change from kind of like that old school, hardcore, you know, pull PT and bump and grind,
Yeah.
run up hills, suck it up, get it done, to something that is now you've got apps where you're doing short and sharp 20-second intervals
Right.
with 10 seconds rest off the beep of a cell phone,
Yeah.
and mixing and chopping and changing, you know, the exercise that you're doing. So you're getting strength and high intensity carbo
Yeah.
intervals, and I think all of that's great. And as I
Yeah.
said to you earlier, it's become a science. And quite rightly, people have turned that into one, lifestyle if they follow it, and two, businesses if they're the ones developing it. And you're getting online training environments now where one coach emails thousands of students or adherents
Yes.
a program. They all get involved there, and they pay a fee, either a small one or a large one. They subscribe to blogs. They subscribe to, you know, to online delivery of supplements and other fitness mooty.
Yes.
So, and I think all of that's great.
So, but how do I, if I'm, you know, starting off training, or I'm a new fitness professional, how do you sift between what's rubbish? Because there's, let's face it, there's a lot of rubbish online as well.
Plenty.
And
dangerous stuff
between,
too,
But
you
what
know.
you're describing as good progress,
Yes.
you know, in that field. How do you get, you know, this is good and that's bad?
So I would suggest, and this isn't necessarily my field of expertise here,
Yeah.
but I would suggest that you would do for fitness and health advice what you would do for pretty much any other sphere of your life. So the first thing you do is you ask people you trust.
Yeah.
And then probably do some degree of research. So check the person that you've been recommended to follow or to speak to out.
Yeah.
Either go physically to the gym where they train and have a look at what they're doing with other people. Ask if you can observe, or look at them online, look at some of the stuff that they're saying,
Yeah.
some of the stuff that they're propagating and suggesting, and stay away from anything that looks like Looney Tunes,
Yeah.
and stick with something that makes sense to you. And even in my current job, and pretty much what I've done all my life as a security professional, trust your gut. If something feels wrong or slightly, I'm not so sure, leave it alone.
Yeah.
Because there's, as you said, there is a plethora of information there.
Yeah.
Just go to something that sounds more reasonable,
Yes.
more achievable, because you're not trying to become Arnold Schwarzenegger in 3 days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're trying to do something that for a lifetime, essentially, will keep you fit and healthy and happy.
Yeah.
And there's no point putting crazy pressure on yourself, or let somebody else do that.
Yeah.
How are you going to be happy and content, and how are you going to actually achieve anything if it just doesn't feel right?
Correct, yeah. Just to go back a bit, I think we probably do a disservice for those people who've never heard of Rory Steyn to tell them what is your biggest claim to fame in life?
Well, I wouldn't call it a claim to fame, but certainly the greatest privilege that I've had, and the best 5 years of my life, were the 5 years that I was asked to serve President Mandela in a particular capacity, which was as one, and I do stress it was one of, it wasn't all about me, and I need to make that point, one of the team leaders of his protection team.
Yeah.
So we had this wonderful group of men and women, collectively known as the Presidential Protection Unit. And by the way, if I may just digress, what gives me so much joy and just a little bit of pride is the fact that one of the current team leaders of President Ramaphosa's protection team today is a young man who is not so young anymore, but he's a man who worked under my command and served on my team. We're great friends, and we come from completely different backgrounds. He's a former ANC Department of Intelligence and Security operative, and I'm a former white cop.
Yeah.
And you know, I taught him to swim one day in the swimming pool at the unit there at our base in Pretoria. As I said, we became firm friends, and he is now today leading the detail that protects our president.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that must give you a sense of
that's great. So those were the greatest 5 years of my life and the greatest privilege.
Yes.
But I certainly wouldn't say it's a claim to fame.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So, I guess also, you know, just being with the man for such a period of time, it was like over 2 years or 5 years.
The 5 years that he was our president.
Close proximity with him. So you really got to know Mandela on a different level to every Joe Soap. I remember the closest I got was I was in Houghton one day in the exclusive books.
Oh yeah.
And I heard this big commotion, and all of a sudden he walks in with this. It wasn't an entourage; it was just more a following, a crowd following him.
Okay.
And you know, I get goosebumps just thinking about that experience. I didn't talk to him. I didn't.
Yeah.
So what 5 years must have been like? It was incredible.
It was extraordinary, and I can, even as you're telling me the story about the exclusive books, I can see it in my mind's eye because it happens so often.
Yeah.
And in fact, he very much enjoyed doing that. And we would try and avoid that at all costs. I mean, the last thing we want is the most famous human being in the world walking into a random shop, whether it's a bookshop or a flower shop or chocolates or jewelry or whatever, you know, unannounced, because we know what's going to happen. Within seconds, we've got mayhem on our hands and we've got to deal with it.
Yeah.
But we would say to him, Dada, please give us the money and tell us what you want and we'll go and buy it. No, I want to choose it myself. Because he genuinely, I believe, I mean, I've never thought that I can speak for Madiba, you know. I wouldn't be that cheeky. But my sense is that he truly enjoyed any opportunity just to interact with ordinary men and women. And especially children.
Yes.
Especially children.
Yeah.
So look for an opportunity maybe just to set aside that official, formal, sterile, presidential daily schedule that he must, because he's the president, follow, you know, from morning until whenever it finishes at night. Just set that aside and just go and interact with ordinary people. He loves that. And I'm proud that I served a president that wanted to be like that. I'm glad. Yeah. Because I admire that about him.
Sure.
Not just because he was locked away in jail for 27 years, but just because there was so much humanity about him. Yeah.
Sure, Rory, it's going to be difficult not to talk about Mandela for the next hour.
Yeah, and I could talk for 3 hours.
So this is mainly a fitness topic. So let me connect the two. Mandela was a good boxer in his young day. Did he keep up some sort of training regime?
Absolutely. He was incredible. Not only did he keep up a fitness regime, but he also, throughout his life, was very particular and very careful about how he ate. And I'm glad to say that, in my view, he was a solid banter, because coming as a as a Xhosa coming out of the Eastern Cape, you ate goat meat, you ate beef, of course you ate umngqushu and probably some starches and carbohydrate, but essentially it would have been a protein and fat driven diet, which I'm quite a strong proponent of, without being ridiculous about it. But he, and I think it was probably coming right out of his boxing days, but certainly through his prison days, and again, I can't speak for him, but I know that he would, whenever there was an opportunity to do physical training, he would. I saw him personally, so by the time I got to serve him, it was when he became president, so 94. He was already in his mid to late 70s, but he would go for a walk every morning at 5 o'clock, walk for 30 minutes to maybe just under an hour. He would run on the spot. If we were in a hotel somewhere in the world, he would, in the bathroom in his hotel room, run on the spot. Make sure that he did some form of exercise. And I think that's commendable. I hope to be doing some form of exercise when I'm in my mid to late 70s, you
Absolutely,
know.
yeah.
But it was more, it wasn't just the exercise, it was more a matter of discipline. This is something that I need in my life, probably to, you know, to see me through these long and tedious days in a prison.
Yeah.
But also because it's just it'll keep my mind and my body healthy. That's
Yes. Yeah.
what that's how I see it. So he loved that, and he loved, so on my unit, before I went to become his team leader, I had 2 former boxers, Pierre Kutzer and Benny Knutzer, who served
Really?
on my unit. Yeah.
Okay.
And whenever the old man saw them, he would go to them and he would talk boxing to them because, you know, he was interested.
Yes.
He would phone our sportsmen. He would phone Ernie Els if he won a golf championship. He would phone Amanda Kutzer if she won a tennis championship, or Wayne Ferreira, or Hansi Cronje if the Proteas won, or whoever the Springbok captain was, or you know, Bafana. He would stay current because he read the newspaper cover to cover every day, every single daily newspaper, English and Afrikaans.
Again, discipline.
Yeah, it was a discipline.
He does, yeah. But what I think is remarkable about him is that all of those things, phoning up people when they achieve, and and even the kids thing, going to children. I feel it was sincere. It was not. It wasn't a marketing. You know, nowadays you see the president shake hands with people,
pressing flesh,
and and they have PR people saying to them, well, you know, go have a photo op with so and so, with Tiger Woods. You know, no, I won't mention which president I'm referring to.
Yeah, that's right. Eh?
But yeah, so that's where Mandela was different.
Not the opportunity, DJ.
Yeah. So that's great, and again, we unfortunately have to move on from Mandela.
Sure.
So, in your personal life as well, you've got 3 sons.
Yes.
And they're all playing sport.
All of them have played sport, you know, since they were little. One of the great things that we have in this country, and not a lot of South Africans understand that it's not so in the rest of the world. One of the great things about growing up as a kid in South Africa is that the sport is there for you. It's organized for you at school. So after school, typically, as we all know, you go and do some other form of sport.
Yeah.
And so there'll be a swimming gala, there'll be a inter-house athletics, there'll be rugby, cricket, netball, hockey, whatever it is for you to participate in. Whereas overseas, that doesn't happen. School ends at 4 o'clock. In the UK, it's dark at 4 o'clock in winter. And any kid who wants to then play sport after school has to go to a club. The parents will have to join them, pardon me, up with the local rugby or soccer or cricket club, or and probably an indoor gym where they can go and swim, you know. Yeah. So we have it really, really good in South Africa as kids. Yeah. So all of our boys went through all of that. Yeah. Okay. We insisted, in fact.
Did you encourage?
Yeah.
Or but to a certain level, did you put pressure when you saw them performing?
No, I took a decision never to be that parent that was in the coach's face, or more importantly, in the coach's ear the whole time about their kid. Yeah. I tried very hard not to, you know, to get too excited and try and tell the ref how to blow the game from the sideline. But I know that on occasion I failed, you know. Yeah. But I just didn't ever want to be that parent. And now you'll see there is a very strong initiative from many schools to say to parents, guys, let these kids play. They are not all Springboks. And neither is the ref an international ref. Leave him alone. It's about having fun, being healthy, and competing. You play sport to win. I don't buy into this nonsense of everybody must get a medal. Yeah. You know, and it's about participation. No. You play to win.
Correct.
But you never play to win at all costs. So drugs is not acceptable in sport. Cheating is never acceptable in sport. You know, you play hard and fair. You shake your opponent's hand at the end, look him in the eye if he beats you, and say, well done. And think to yourself, I'll get you next time. You know, it's about that. Yeah.
And so one of your boys, Kyle, has gone on to do very well in rugby. He played for Griquas, local?
First Marties.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, first Marties Varsity Cup, and for Marties Rugby Club in the Western Province League. Yeah. From there to Griquas as a professional rugby player. Captained them last year from Griquas straight to Glasgow Warriors, where he still is now. And we're so happy that he's just been called up to the Scotland Rugby World Cup squad.
Wow, amazing.
And we
Congratulations.
Thank you. And we hope that when the final cut from 42 to 31 is made, that his name will be amongst those. But you know what, even if it isn't, what an achievement.
Absolutely.
You know, for a Joburg-born boy from a little, very unknown, very young English-speaking high school called Trinity House, with no real rugby heritage to speak of. I mean, you can't compare, you know, Trinity House to a Paul Roos or a Kes or any of those schools that have produced any number of Springboks. Never mind playing for Stellenbosch University with all its wonderful Springbok heritage.
Yes, yeah.
So even that was a source of great pride. And now, because I was smart enough to marry well, and I married a woman who was born in Glasgow.
Oh, okay.
He's got, you know, he had that opportunity.
So is that where the genes come
that's
from?
where
Not
the
from
genes,
your side?
No, nothing to do with me. His mother was born in Glasgow. She was only 18 months old when her father came here.
Yeah.
In the 60s, as an engineer, when we needed certain professional skills and services, you know, they obviously put the advert out in the motherland, and he raised his hand and said, "Okay, I'll go." And he landed up here. They ultimately had 4 girls.
Yeah.
And my wife is the second born, so the elder two were born in Scotland, the younger 2 were born here.
So, Rory, Kyle's doing very well. I believe your other boy just got hurt in schoolboy rugby. Does that sort of put you off? Would you tell parents not to let their kids play rugby?
Never. And I would say to every mother out there, with respect, I'm not trying to be arrogant now, I would say to every mother who's worried about their kids playing, and I get that, that it's one of the healthiest pursuits your boy can ever play, because it teaches boys so much. You know, it teaches them to accept a physical challenge, and I'm not meaning that in an ugly way, that there's violence there. It's about taking and making a tackle and think, gee, I can actually do this. It's about being part of a team environment. It's about what we talked about earlier, being out in the sunshine and the fresh air, and you know, enjoying physical activity. It's about that. You know, and at young age, when these kids are at primary school and they're running around in their bare feet, you know, if they fall on the ground, they just fall on the grass and bounce off and get up and run away. Yes, there have been serious injuries, and I'm not for a second diminishing that, or even the possibility of that. But if you consider, and I'd like to know, actually, I'd like to speak to an actuary one day that would work out what the chances are of, you know, of a serious injury in rugby compared to other risks in South Africa, even just driving on our roads. I mean, I reckon it's hundreds of times or hundreds of multiples, you know, less. There's you know, a much less chance of getting hurt playing rugby. So I would never say to anybody, you know, don't let your kid play rugby. Not at all.
Okay,
no.
great. I'm just wondering if this dog is going to stop. I'll cut this piece out, but he's now standing. Okay, is he quiet now?
Yeah, he's quiet enough.
All right. The other thing I wanted to ask you about, you also had the opportunity to look after the All Blacks in 1995 when they were here. So and I heard somewhere that you actually ran along with them in terms of their training.
I did. It was, again, a wonderful privilege. So, and that was literally just before I joined President Mandela's unit. So we're talking 95. I was at the time the commander of the Joburg VIP protection unit. And I was part of a team of 32 police officers that were assigned to the 16 teams participating in Rugby World Cup. And idiot that I am, I forgot that as the hosts, South Africa would also qualify to have 2 cops aside.
Yes.
No, and I got first choice because I was the most senior rank, and I chose the All Blacks. Because I knew I'd worked with them in 92 when they came on that first tour. So I often tell people, I don't have many regrets in life, but that's one of them. And yet I found the All Blacks, I found the New Zealand culture incredible. They are humble people. And but to your point, Laurie Mains was the coach. I was still playing rugby for Joburg Bobbies at the time at first team level, so I was fit.
Yeah.
And he said, no, please join us, jump in. We can always use another oak to hold the tackle bag, you know, run lines. And it was, I mean, what a privilege.
Did you hold the tackle bag for John Olama?
I did, and he knocked me back 3 meters with one shoulder charge. And the man was incredible. In my view, the greatest rugby player that ever lived.
Really?
Absolutely.
That's saying a lot.
Absolutely phenomenal. And please don't think that the Jonah Lomu that you see on a TV screen is all that he was. To see him in the flesh, think about this: 6'5", 120 kilograms, and he can run the 100 meters in 10.4 seconds.
Oh,
so because he's so tall, and he's got those huge legs, unless you get both legs in a tackle, if you've only got one leg, as soon as he plants the other one and he plants it over there in a big wide stride, he's going to pull this leg out of that. So if you look at the way that the box tackled him in that final, the way that Jaapie Mulder and Joost well, James grabbed him more a little bit by the arm and the upper. Joubert, I think, tackled him. Okay. Mark Andrews nailed him. That was the way to tackle Jonah. You had to commit and get both arms in like a really steely lock around those legs. Anyone's going to fall if you do that.
It's an
but to see him in the flesh, run down the wing, and bump guys off and run through tackles. And what people must never forget about Jonah is that everybody remembers him running over the Poms at Newlands in that famous semi-final of the Rugby World Cup, over first Tony Underwood and then Mike Catt. Everybody remembers that. Jonah Lomu beat more opponents by going around them because he was that quick.
Wow.
He didn't need to run over them. He was fast and he was big. You know, so, and that handoff of his, there's that classic bit of footage where he runs through about 5 or 6 French tackles. Might have even been in a Rugby World Cup game in '99, so the Rugby World Cup after ours. Let's go and look at that footage just to see how incredible he was. But that's off a TV screen or a computer screen, because you'll probably find it on YouTube.
Yes.
But to see him in the flesh next to the field doing that was something else. That's why I say I've never seen a player that can do that stuff. Yeah.
That's amazing. You don't think? I mean, I don't know how well you know Jonah Lomu, or did you get to know him a little bit?
I got him to know very well.
So those oaks, some people would probably say, no, he got that big from steroids.
No. He was just a young, strong Tongan, almost like a freak.
Yeah.
And the great thing about him was he didn't know how good or how strong he was. And that was told to me by fellow All Blacks. So his kind of mentor within the All Black setup was Eric Rush. Eric Rush was one of the greatest sevens players that ever played for New Zealand, probably one of the top 5 sevens players ever in history. And he used to mentor Jonah. And they used to laugh at him because he was literally like the farm boy from the back end, you know, from the bush there, who knows nothing about the world. And he was like that. He just didn't know how strong he was.
Incredible.
And they just used to laugh at him.
But yeah, those islands, the Tongans, the Fijians, the Samoans, it seems like there's a genetic thing there as well.
So Michael Jones, the great All Black number 7 flank, is a good friend of mine. And I was in Auckland a couple of years ago, and I phoned him up and made sure we went and had a meal together. And his nickname was Ice. He was the Iceman because he was so cool. And within the squad, you know, everybody called him Ice. And I was sitting there having some calamari, looking at the ocean. And I said to him, Ice, I said, mate, God made Polynesian people to play rugby. He did. Look at them. They've got broad hips, low centers of gravity, big, strong upper bodies, and they can run like the wind. I mean, what more do you need to be a great center than that?
I believe the NFL, the American football, they're also digging in there now. They, you know, with their money, their dollars.
Sure. Well, there's that very famous case, which was one of almost the clinching deaths in the whole concussion within the NFL thing. It was exactly that. It was a Samoan. I think he was a Samoan.
Okay.
Very successful NFL player. You know, who just took or made one hit too many, and he ultimately died from brain injury.
I actually personally think NFL or the American football is more dangerous than rugby.
Certainly, because they're allowed to tackle with their heads.
Yeah, and they have weapons, which is their helmet. We think their helmet is protection, but it's actually a weapon.
Sure.
You know, that's what they use it to tackle guys. I saw a very famous quarterback, Brett Favre, from the Green Bay Packers. He is now dead set. He's going around canvassing against moms letting their kids play American football. So,
and he's a legend.
Yeah. So because he got hit and went concussed, and probably more than once.
Yeah, they certainly need to change that law.
Yeah.
I think that what they should do is just do away with the helmet. than some of the padding,
Yeah.
and make it absolutely illegal to hit with the head.
As per rugby,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
rugby's doing a good job there. Well, great, man. And so with all of this experience that you got with training from
Yes.
Kompstaldraad in the police.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had to bring that up as well. But it's, and going through training for all the marathons on each continent, which must be each of them must be different. And maybe we can do a follow-up on all of those.
Sure.
But at the moment, how are you training?
At the moment, because I had back surgery 2 years ago, and I have a prosthetic in my lumbar spine, I can run a park run
Okay.
without much pain. Sometimes if I push it too hard, that last K or half a K, my back will start to hurt. But running, I have no more goals or any kind of achievements to be made in running. So I ride my bike. So
Okay.
right now I love mountain biking because of where you can ride here. I mean, 20 minutes from where we're sitting now, in the cradle, you can go and ride next to giraffe, zebra, wildebeest, a whole bunch of antelope. There's even 2 rhino there at Cradle Moon.
Wow.
Where
And you can ride.
You ride next to them, man. And I mean, when I tell my mates overseas that, they think, "Geez, this is ook for real, or you're not kind of embellishing the story." But I said, well, come, bring your bike and come, I'll show you. So I like to ride, I ride a bit of road bike now and then too, and I enjoy it because it's a nice change.
Yeah.
But mountain bike is more about where you can ride. It's like trail running as opposed to road running. And I got into trail running very late in my road running career, if you can call it a career, and I did some phenomenal events, and I really enjoyed it, But yeah, so I play a bit of golf, very, very badly.
What are you playing off?
I'm playing off like 21.2 or something like that.
0.2.
But I have a very convenient excuse that I like to bandy about. I just say, guys, I had back surgery, man. I can't play this game properly.
Yeah, the best excuse is before you tee off, right?
That's right. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So golf, tennis, swimming, a little bit of running and cycling, and then I go to gym. 3-4 times a week, and again I mix it up there. I do a fair amount of resistance training, some free weights.
Okay.
I do Pilates precisely because I need to keep my core strong to support this back where I had surgery. And I just like to kind of keep it interesting.
Okay, okay. And we go to the same gym, so we also have the same personal trainer.
Right.
Why would you need a personal trainer, Rory?
For the reasons that I mentioned to you earlier, and that is that I've been going to gym since I was 20, pretty much been doing the same stuff. So all of us know when we started, gym and working with weights, that you would do 2 days, take a break and do another 2 days. So you do Monday and Tuesday, break on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and on what you did on Monday, you do on Wednesday, what you did on Tuesday, you do on Friday. So you would work 2 body parts, maybe legs and chest, 3 sets of 10 reps each, and you'll do maybe 3 different kinds of exercises per body part. And that's going to give you, a good all-round strength within your body. But to do that year in and year out brings more. It's more the mental fatigue of doing the same old. And then you go to gym and you see walking around every gym are a bunch of personal trainers. They're working with people, and I just know from speaking to mates that there's a lot. So a personal trainer is in a gym. There isn't just somebody who zips on an Adidas tracksuit that says personal trainer on the back. They've done some form of qualification. They understand how to do exercises safely. They understand how to avoid certain injured body parts. They understand how to strengthen certain injuries and all of that. And I just said to the personal trainer what I've told you. I said, look, I've been going to gym for 30-something years. I just want something different. Mix it up. Show me some new stuff, because I want to mentally kind of become re-energized by just doing new things.
And so you're working with Annerita at the moment. All of those things, you feel like she understands that.
She understands that stuff. And she's great to work with. I don't even do it one-on-one. I far prefer to go to one of her group sessions where they're, depending on the number and on the day, there might be 2 to 4 or possibly even 5 other people there. And just give me some stuff to do, and let's mix it up, and let me see let me see what I like. And what I enjoyed is that she said to me, you'll never do the same exercise. You'll only do this exercise once.
Yes.
Can't be. But she's got that much of an understanding of the huge availability,
Yes.
of exercises, or maybe just mixing it up and changing something slightly here and there. I mean, I never knew when I started 20 years ago, when I was, trying to be a krach-api, working with the weights, that you would have one day I'd be standing on a bosu board, doing lifts with a kettlebell, or squats, goblet squats with a kettlebell or with a dumbbell,
yes,
on a bosu board.
Yes.
Never thought that was even possible, but it's working so much more than just than just the body parts that are actually.
I saw you wobbling a bit there.
No, you didn't see any wobbling. You must look properly.
Great, man. No, thanks so much, Rory.
No,
I mean, again,
it's a pleasure.
I think there's so many different areas that we can go into, but we'll try and keep it nice and short.
Sure.
Maybe we'll do another one day. Who knows?
You're welcome to.
But I appreciate all of the things that you're sharing with us. So actually, I have two things in common with Rory Steyn. We're both into sports and fitness. Our niche is for our business, and we both train with Annerita.
Yeah, exactly.
So there
right.
you go.
Yeah.
Before you go, the book that you wrote,
Yes.
I'm just going to grab it quickly.
Sure.
Okay. So Rory also wrote this book, One Step Beyond Mandela. You wrote it in 2000. It came out in 2000.
It had a yellow cover then.
Oh, okay.
So that's the second edition. Yeah.
Okay. So Rory has brought this along, and I assume it's for me, so I'm going to keep this, and I'm going to ask you, Rory, to sign it for me.
Certainly.
So, but thanks for bringing that. That is still, I suppose, on sale, if people want to get it?
It is on sale in the Kindle store as an ebook.
Okay.
But you can also, on Amazon, get really good second-hand hard copies. A lot of people like to hold a book in a tactile manner and read it, and you can still get second-hand.
But it's not in print.
It's not in print anymore because it's 12. No, it's 15, 16, 17 years old now. 19 years old.
19.
now.
Can you believe it? Yeah. Time flies.
Exactly.
Well, then I'm even more privileged to have it. So thank you very much.
Certainly, Quentin.
Great. Again, Rory.
Oh, very welcome.
Much
Quentin.
appreciate your time.
No worries.
And the great chat. So
Thank you very much for your time.
Cheers.